how's it going? Welcome to From the Forums, a weekly deep dive into fan forums from clubs around the Premier League and a look at all the chaos that comes with that kind of forum and content. I'll be distilling it down into 4 of the clubs with the biggest talking points this week to see what their fans have to say about their clubs. Good, the bad and the ugly. So in game week 6 in the Premier League this week, which fans are kicking off about their club? Let's have a look. Listen, I've got to face into it. This time it's my club, Manchester United, humbled again this week by Brentford, losing 3-1 away. Let's tackle this one head on and see what fellow Manchester United fans think about Ruben Amorim and the state of the club at the minute. After that, we'll move on to Sunderland, flirting with Champions League places, now 5th in the Premier League table after this round of fixtures. A 1-0 win at Nottingham Forest. Surely their fans are absolutely buzzing. We'll take a look at that. And let's address West Ham, ditching Graham Potter and appointing Nuno Espirito Santo right before a match day. How's that gone down with Hammers fans? And let's balance the week with Brighton, 3-1 winners at Chelsea. At this point, make sure you subscribe to the channel, follow wherever you're watching or listening to this, just to make sure you don't miss out on who I look at next week and which club forums I scour. Right, let's dive into Red Cafe, Manchester United fan forum. And as Man United fans, it's been, let's face it, a rough decade. And it just keeps getting worse. A deserved 3-1 loss to Brentford. Same old problems persist. Let's see what fans have got to say. Legitimately the worst manager this club has ever had. Not in the Premier League era, in the entire history of Manchester United, as far back as records exist. I mean, statistically, he's not doing great, is he? But I still think that's a bit of an exaggeration because Ruben Amorim has walked into this absolute mess of a club, which has to come from the leadership. Of course it does. The Glazers are still there. I think some United fans are quick to forget that. Now that Ineos are taking the heat, really, for most of the stuff that's going on at the club. But Amorim came in telling the board exactly what he was going to do. And to be fair to him, he's absolutely done that. And it's proved disastrous. It really has. Nothing is changing. The system is so inflexible and these players are just too thick, too dumb to adapt, and I don't think any level of coaching is going to change that. So yeah, his record isn't great, Ruben Amorim. He's as stubborn as he said he was going to be, but that's not on him. Like, the club signed him up midway through a season knowing that was going to be the case. Having said that, something's got to give. I think this result made a lot of fans finally change their opinion of Amorim and probably realise this isn't going to change. I feel the same. I don't put it on Amorim. I don't blame him. But this result was, in a nutshell, everything that's bad about United so far. We just chew players, chew managers up, spit them out and move on. And I can't see that cycle ending, as depressing as that is to say. Any manager who has one way of playing and one way only is a waste of time. Even Pep changes and adapts. I think that's the way the Premier League's going, isn't it? Tactically, you need to have a multitude of ways of playing. It's not a new thing to kind of adapt your way of playing to the opposition, is it? So playing this really rigid system with players that are playing out of position, square pegs in round holes, over and over again, expecting it to change, it's not going to change. These players ain't good enough to adapt to this system. So I kind of agree. The system has to change around the players. And if he does that, first of all, it's a huge admission that he got it wrong, Ruben Amorim. But secondly, it goes against everything that he believes in and undermines everything, every bit of confidence he had in this system to begin with. So what is his philosophy after that? I don't think it's a wrong thing to sort of change your system, admit you were wrong. It might be the making of Amorim as a coach. But yeah, I think it's clear if he doesn't change, the club will change him. But he said he's cool with that. We've been robbed by the ref, but we shouldn't be in that position in the first place. I was very much give Amorim a chance last season, but there's been nothing to suggest it's worth persisting with. I was give Amorim a chance as well. I thought Amorim was a young, up-and-coming, tactically astute manager who had a system that worked brilliantly at the club that he employed it in. Sporting turned out to be a fantastic version of his system, but Manchester United are not that team, and we're not that system, and we never will be, unless the transfers 100% reflect that, which they haven't. Yeah, I think United were a bit unlucky to not be up against 10 men. Let's face it, I think there's a clear denial of a goal scoring opportunity, in my opinion, and how that's not considered that or anything but that is ridiculous. But then for Bruno to miss the penalties, bang on form for United at the minute as well. And for him, he played shockingly, didn't he? I still can't understand why Collins did not get a red card. It was a dark red. Yeah, Collins' pullback was poor. Yeah, it was. And how that wasn't a red, I don't know. Would it have changed the game? Who knows? The penalty didn't even change the game, did it? United didn't deserve to get anything out of this, so it would have been lucky. In some ways, it would have masked what was in the end a fair result. Losing and still making centre-back subs, not a effing clue. The subs United brought on and are continuing to bring on are looking increasingly dull, aren't they? I think they looked at the bench and we had 2 goalkeepers and like 5 defenders. So what else is he going to do? The most attacking players were already out on the pitch. It's just demoralising looking at the bench and thinking, well, how are we going to change this game when we're chasing it? And there is no way of changing it apart from making like-for-like changes, and that's what he did. And same old boring crap, wasn't it? Anyway, let's move on. I don't want to talk about United too much, too deeply. Follow me on Blue Sky if you don't already, and you'll see exactly what I think about Manchester United on there. Let's jump to Ready to Go, a Sunderland forum. They beat Nottingham Forest 1-0 to move to 5th in the table, which is an amazing start for a promoted team, first of all. Let's see what their fans have got to say. Was watching in the pub, random lad turned round and said, not the best football on show here. Looked at him and said, couldn't give a shit, mate, look at the table. That's quality. Yeah, look at the table. The football wasn't that pretty in this game. Forest and Sunderland both looked poor. Forest with a reasonable excuse that they're in a massive transition right now, aren't they? But Sunderland won. They won ugly. And I think that's all that will matter in the end. And that league position is total justification of that approach. In fairness, all their players played fantastically. They were all at least a 7 out of 10 in this game. Played their roles diligently and got a great result. Fantastic win today, a proper battling, ugly as fuck win. Love this team. Same again, isn't it? Like, who cares how the points come along, especially if it's 3 of them. Promoted teams are really struggling to get a foothold in the Premier League, aren't they, lately? So this might be the year that changes, who knows? But Sunderland are giving it a right good go from the start, aren't they? And it's good to see. It's good to see the trend booked of promoted teams struggling. Just realised we're 1 point from Southampton's points total last season after 6 games. I suppose, yeah, that's a sign that relegation isn't a foregone conclusion for Sunderland, isn't it? But that Southampton team is not the yardstick of success, let's face it. My only slight defensive concern is Hume still. We were really lucky to not get punished when he got dispossessed in the box. Some slight defensive concerns there, but I don't think it's a huge amount to worry about. Generally, the defence held really firm. Goalkeeper as well, Roofs was fantastic. So Sunderland fans are looking optimistic about the season ahead. If that's you, let me know how you feel in the comments. Right, West Ham. What the hell is going on there? Coming from a Man United fan as well. Crazy poor leadership on show from West Ham. Sacking Potter. Letting him do the pre-match presser on the Friday as well. Obviously, already having Nuno Espirito Santo lined up to take over. That's pretty poor show, isn't it? And the football is kind of secondary here in this conversation, isn't it? Let's go to West Ham Online, the Hammers fan forum, and see what Hammers fans think of the whole mess over there. Good luck to Nuno. He's going to need it at West Ham. It was a certainty Potter would go once Brady and Sullivan started getting it in the neck. But what a treacherous manner in which to sack the coach. I think that's it for me. Letting Potter do that Friday presser, and you could tell he felt like a beaten man and didn't look like he had long left, to be fair. He looked knackered. But then to go and announce on a Saturday that he's sacked, I think is really poor show and terrible for preparation as well, right? Should have happened on Monday. Why the fuck did we wait until Saturday? Hasn't he been taking training and getting ready for Everton? Nuno could have at least been given some extra days to prepare. 100%, mate. That is the point here that I'm trying to make. Whether or not Potter was the right person for the job or whether it was the time to release him is by the by. I think the fact that it happened on a Saturday, right before preparation for an important game, is really poor showing and shows how shocking the leadership is at West Ham at the minute. He's a nice guy, heavily overbacked and overpromoted. He won't get another big job. I do worry about Graham Potter because he's taken on 2 pretty tainted teams so far in Chelsea and West Ham, and he's been paid handsomely for the job he's done and for being released from his contract as well, let's face it. However, I don't know if he'll get a Premier League job after this. He might have to do a Steve Cooper and sort of move abroad. He's not unfamiliar with that, let's face it. Or drop down to maybe the Championship and sort of build his reputation back up again. But yeah, this has been a disaster for the Graham Potter project, hasn't it? I've said it all along, I would rather have Moyes any day of the week. I mean, this is classic be careful what you wish for, isn't it? Moyes, to be fair to David Moyes, he's doing great at Everton. But at West Ham, he did historical things. He won a European trophy. Got them to places in the league that now feel unthinkable, don't they? skirting around the European places, competing in Europe nearly every season. Yeah, that was the dream, wasn't it? And from West Ham point of view, to go from that to where we are now isn't just a big drop off, but you had what you are now aspiring to get to. Moyes was the best thing that West Ham had in recent years, and you let him go. Yeah, shoddy treatment, but you reap what you sow. Way too knee-jerky. This isn't his team yet, and the vitriolic tantrum should be saved for a couple of our star players. I'm not buying the this isn't his team yet. I mean, this is the same kind of debate Man United fans are having as well with Ruben Amorim. You coach the players you've got. You work with the players that you have. And blaming the players is all well and good, but the coach is responsible for the players' attitude as well. So, knee-jerky? No, I disagree with that. Potter was the wrong coach for this set of players and for this system he was trying to impose. It was never going to happen. But the timing of it, yeah, maybe not the best. Okay, let's end this week's pod on a positive. Brighton winning away to Chelsea 3-1. It was, I have to say, a wonderful watch. I'm not a big fan of the Chelsea project. And for Brighton, sticking it to like a team of several former players must have felt incredibly sweet. Let's go to North Stand chat to see if Brighton fans agree. Yes, the red card obviously helped, but Chelsea being a man down doesn't mean the away side automatically scores 3 goals. A real upped performance in that second half. Well done, lads. Yeah, I agree. Red card obviously made it very easy to open the game up in the way that Brighton wanted, and a huge slice of luck that Chelsea have gifted to their opponent, and not for the first time this season, let's face it. But yeah, definitely a red. And to score 3 goals meant that the persistence paid off from Brighton. They created the chances when it could have been very difficult for a team that put their backs immediately against the wall. So yeah, fair play. Lovely to be sitting in row 7 and watching Bobby Sanch pick the ball out of the net 3 times. Yeah, it must have been quite sweet to watch half that team, who are obviously formerly on the Brighton payroll, have to go through that kind of humbling, really. The 10 men helped, as we mentioned. Robert Sanchez, not a fun afternoon for him, and a few of those players who used to wear the blue and white of Brighton as well. Great win and a fantastic day, of course, but I thought we were generally pretty awful, especially the first half. I suppose some criticism isn't unfair. It wasn't vintage Brighton until that red card, but a win is a win, right? I guess most won't agree given the result, but he, Hurzeler, I believe, isn't taking us forward. Terrible until the red. I think he needs to go. With so many odd decisions, and speaks like a motivational speaker, not a manager. Hope I'm wrong, but with this squad, we need someone to take us to the next level, and Hurzeler isn't it. That's mad surprising for me. I always look at Brighton and Hurzeler and see, yeah, a motivational speaker type vibe, but don't you want a motivator? You know, you'd rather that than somebody completely wooden. And tactically, he seems to be correcting his mistakes mid-game quite well, better than most coaches, and his substitutions generally are pretty spot on, as we've seen to like full effect in some games. Yeah, really surprised at that. We've been spoiled, but I really miss the beautiful possession football we used to play under Potter and Roberto Disarray. Wow, okay, yeah. So clearly the sentiment towards Hurzeler isn't 100% positive, which is a real surprise as a neutral. But yeah, some of the football under Disarray, especially at peak, was really great to watch. But isn't this fun as well? Isn't watching Fabian Hurzeler's Brighton incredibly fun to watch? To see them sometimes go behind and then turn it around with the Danny Welbeck substitution, as we've seen in this game again. I think that's really fun. I think he believes in his players and knows his squad, and making those substitutions shows that he's in tune with their strengths as well. So fair play Hurzeler, I think. And as West Ham fans have found out, be careful what you wish for. Yeah, it could be completely different if you start thinking about new coaches right now. Brighton fans, do you agree? Are you Hurzeler out despite everything? Also, are you feeling elated after this victory against Chelsea? Surely you must be. Let us know in the comments. But that is it for this week's episode of From the Forums. If you like what you heard and like what you've seen, please do hit like, subscribe and follow everywhere you can see this. We're also on TikTok, we're on Instagram. It'd be great to see you getting involved in the comments there. But until next week, have a good one. Speak to you soon.